I think there were 60 million people at that time in the UK, and 15 million of them were watching Top of the Pops.
When I was growing up, I never knew anybody that went to university, but I never knew anyone that didn't watch Top of the Pops.
When I saw them on Top of the Pops for the first time, I instantly wanted to be the keyboard player. I wanted to be the quiet one who didn't say anything.
I remember sitting there, probably with my parents, in front of Top of the Pops on a Thursday night, and seeing these two guys on there, thinking, what is that?
Everyone came to school the next day saying, did you see that guy? The man who looked like Hitler.
A lot of people say, why the Charlie Chaplin look? And a lot of people say, why the Hitler look? And both of those people seem to me to be cartoon characters in a way.
The next day when you talk about it, the word of mouth begins in a way that is viral, like we now have, obviously, on everything. But back then, that was a rare thing, and you start to make things up slightly. One of my favourite anecdotes about that Top of the Pops appearance is John Lennon ringing up Ringo Starr and saying,
"You won't believe what's on the television.
What?
Mark Bolan is playing a song with Adolf Hitler."
Hitler?
But that's how, unfortunately, we all thought. We all thought.
Adolf Hitler.
2 years ago, I was hearing there was somebody dressed like Hitler playing the piano on the BBC.
But I don't think you see it.
Sparks, he's talking about Sparks.
I think...
He was born looking like Hitler, that's all.
From then on, every single piece ever written about the group would just say Adolf Hitler, which also really kind of weirdly tangled up in the myth of the group, you know. The shock to the system as a piece of choreography, let alone his appearance, was so remarkable that immediately it started to grow in your imagination.
They're playing this upbeat, energetic, fantastic music, and he's just stood there. I think he's really clever.
The following day, I remember going in and one of the sales guys saying, "We've done 200,000 singles today already. The vans are out everywhere, and there were people buying boxes of them." That is a fantastic feeling.
John and I have said, always judge an album by its cover. So if something has a dreadful album cover, don't buy it.
The cover's amazing, with the two kind of geisha girls with the smeared makeup on. Here you have this image which should be and could be perfect and pristine. And if it had been another band of the period, they would have been more objectified. They're doing, even with the visual, they're doing something interesting, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is.
I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. At once, like fashion photography, and at once making fun of fashion photography. And I think that is something I love about Sparks, is that they are the ones they were to mock, you know, in a weird way.
The art direction is just superb. But imagine, you know, us trying to convince our record label, no, we don't want the name of the band and the title of the album on the front. No, that's going on the back.
The joy of actually having this fantastic 12-inch vinyl in front of you, and it had the lyrics on it as well, and then you're reading through the lyrics and you're thinking, this band are amazing. I had to know everything about them and threw myself into being a fan.
The first tour was really exciting. The audience would just go crazy. I mean, it was just fandom.
We were now thrown into kind of what we thought was the sort of the big league, having the success of Kimono My House. The concerts we were doing at that time were just really wild events. I remember one in Liverpool. We were pressed against the glass of the exterior of the hotel, just smashed against the front of the building, and then finally somebody helped rescue us, and we went through the kitchen. You know, it was a really special period.
I remember vividly seeing them at Hammersmith Odeon, and I remember being really excited about seeing them. There was a lot of screaming because of Cutie Pie on vocals. It was a given after they'd been on Top of the Pops.
I lived in Beckenham, and that's where I saw Ron and Russell walking down the street, and that was a very strange experience. I thought they didn't really exist. You know, they existed on stage, and they existed on the TV, and, you know, they were from other lands. I remember sort of wanting to hide.
And you when they were going to be at the BBC, we knew when they were going to be at Capitol, we knew when they were getting off a plane at Heathrow. We were detectives in terms of actually finding stuff out about them. You know, it was a full-time job to make sure we were on top of it. We'd been to see them quite a few times in London. The excitement never, ever went away. It was always just a thrill.
Somebody cut the budget the morning of the show, so they cancelled security. So it was really insane. Oh God, there I am, yeah.
Obviously, Russell was beautiful, but I always loved Ron. He was different, he was a little bit more challenging. I really felt like I could kind of go places with Ron. Oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. I've just put my arm around him. Kind of got to him and sort of really did realise in that moment that this was a terrible thing to do. This was a disaster. I'm never going to be able to talk to him on a serious level now about, you know, his love of French cinema or the Beach Boys. I was doomed forever to be a child to him.
For everyone's safety, I think we should have a little restraint in the hall, okay?
I mean, I've always been like a believer in just go for it. You know, if you've got the material, record. Tour, record. Just keep doing it.
When she's on her best behavior, don't be tempted by her favors. Never turn your back on others. Times are hard for me to be by hands that look so smooth to me. Never turn your back on others.
For 2 years we toured the world and we had a great time.
It was very, very hectic touring with Kimono and then recording Propaganda kind of at the same time. But it was good fun.
Ron's like a writing machine. He wasn't, you know, one for drinking in the bar with the guys, and in some ways was quite aloof, but that's what Ronnie would be doing, thinking and writing, and so the material kept coming. Obviously that was a demand upon him, but one that I think he kind of thrives on.